Welcome to AMSA's ExpodPod 2023, to exchanges and beyond. I'm Kai, your host for this season, and the ExchangePod or ExpodPod is premiering today during the AMSA week, which is filled with activities including a mental health forum and even a general assembly for its members. The episodes for this year's ExpodPod will be brought to you by the Standing Committee on Professional Exchange, or SCOPE, the Asian Medical Students Exchange Program, or AMSAP, and of course, the Standing Committee on Research Exchange, or SCORE. And today will be all about SCORE, so make sure to catch the SCOPE and AMSAP's episodes in the following days. More about ExpodPod, all episodes will be about the exchanges, the what, when, and hows, and the experiences of our speakers, as well as their learnings. So grab your favorite comfort food or drink and get cozy as you listen and learn from today's episode. So I'm sure all our listeners are excited. So without further ado, let's start the episode. And with me this evening is the local officer of Research Exchange in AMSA-UST, year 2022 to 2023, Pauline Viacrusis. Hi, Pami.
Hey. Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me here, Kai.
Hi, Pami. So, of course, can you tell us more about your standing committee?
Okay, so for everyone who isn't aware, SCORE, yes, it's pronounced as SCORE, not SCORE. SCORE is the Standing Committee of Research and Exchange, or Research Exchange. So this committee, from its name itself, is the one in charge with the advocacy and education for researchers. We know that medicine has to be based on evidence, no? And that's exactly why we're here. We want to supply, or rather fulfill, that special aspect of medicine, or alongside medical school. So the research aspect of it. And we don't want to come off as intimidating. Of course not. SCORE is wide open, have our arms wide open for everyone. So who knows? You want to try out for the Nobel Prize? Maybe you could start out here with SCORE. We'd be glad to help you and guide you throughout your research journey. So yeah, that's it for me. So by the way, Kai, maybe I have this special guest with me this special day, and maybe I can bring him along here. That's all right. I bet he's really a specialist when it comes to research exchange talaga. Okay lang ba sa inyo?
Sure, Pami. Of course, you want to know more, and we need an expert on it, of course. So who do we have here today?
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you all the way from his busy schedule as a medical clerk in the University of the Philippines Medical College, the National Officer of Research Exchange this 2022 to 2023, Markie Dela Cruz. Hi, Kuya Markie.
Hello, good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I mean, what time is it? I'm kind of disoriented na rin.
Iba talaga pag
As a post-duty, hindi ko na alam. I was actually kind of confused this morning. Ano ba ngayon? Sunday na ba? Or Monday? And anyway, ganun talaga pag PM duty. Grabe naman yung expert. Hindi naman, sakto lang. I think it comes with practice. As we say in medicine, it comes with experience. So I'm glad that I'm invited in this wonderful event by AMSA-UST and be able to share with you my knowledge and experience also in the Standing Committee on Research Exchange. Being in this standing committee for, I think, 3 years already and counting. I do not know if I will be retiring soon, but let's not talk about it muna. About retiring or continuing in the standing committee. Ayan. Thank you so much, AMSA-UST.
All right. Okay, of course, Kuya, before we begin, para we get to know you a little bit better, kumusta ka naman ngayon, Kuya?
Oh my God. So, Vales, PM shift kasi yesterday, of course, yesterday. Tapos, syempre, dapat uwi na ako kaninang umaga eh. So, that's a 12-hour shift. Usually, pag PM shift ako, hindi ako nakakatulog before the shift. So, I'm probably awake now for more than 24 hours. Yeah. Kasi I had to, I really had to attend the rounds, senior rounds. Unfortunately, nasaktuhan kami it doesn't really happen every weekend kasi, but then the chief president of the neurosciences department wanted to have a bedside round. So parang, okay, 7 a.m. I have to go home, ideally. But then I had to wait for 9 a.m. because it starts at 9 a.m. until 10:30 or 11 ata kanina. So I was in the hospital from, let's just say, 7 p.m. until 11 a.m. And then, ayun, I'm still here alive. Nasanay naman na ako.
Yung mga ilang cups of coffee yun, kuya.
Oh, probably, actually, kain ako ng kain during PM shift eh. So, I eat dinner before the shift. And then probably mga 12 midnight, ganyan. May kinakain ako dyan. It's a heavy meal with coffee. And then, as I end my shift, kasi kailangan ko pang gawin yung natitirang work to do, monitoring of patients, to do procedures. So, kailangan ko pa ng energy, bawal antukin. So, kumakain pa ako siguro 5 a.m., ganyan. So, I think at this point in my life, medyo pinoproblema ko na baka impaired na yung fasting glucose ko, no? I was actually thinking of going to a laboratory diagnostic kanina kasi, oh my God, I think medyo pangit na yung sugars ko and lipids ko. But then unfortunately, it's a Sunday nga pala, and then every laboratory center na around PGH, they're all closed. Okay, so sayang, nag-fasting pa man din ako.
Alright. To all our
Iba na rin
listeners.
talaga pag
Ayun.
yung glimpse of the medical clerk life, yun, guys.
Yeah. So, ang payo ko lang sa inyo, guys, you're still young, your medical years, you try to enjoy. Enjoy nyo muna mag-aral. Tapos, bahala na pag clerkship or internship na. Kasi katawan ka lang. Sa totoo lang. Katawan
Wala
ka
nang
lang.
kaluluwa, kuya. Just, it's
Body
lang.
Your body. Oo. Wala na yung kaluluwa ko eh. Ewan ko. It's nowhere to be found.
Noted, kuya. Okay, guys. Enjoy muna daw yung medical
Yeah.
school. And maybe if you enjoy it too, di mag-research ka rin, di ba? Wow!
Yes. Tama yun.
Okay, so since Pami mentioned, of course, diba, mag-research din tayo, guys, from time to time. Kuya Markie, we want to ask, what makes your committee significant? Like, what sets it apart from the rest of the committees?
Okay. If I have to be really honest, it's actually Scory is one of the least liked in AMSA Philippines. I don't know why, but it has something to do with our medical education curriculum kasi medyo we're into clinical sciences. We just love to study and do not particularly contribute to the existing knowledge that we have in our medical education, or at least in what we study in medicine. No, but well, apparently outside of the Philippines, SCORY is a big standing committee. It's a big deal for medical students. And it has actually grown significantly in the past years. And we see a lot of IFMSA members who become more and more interested in the standing committee. But then again, I don't blame anyone. I mean, Filipino medical students who are not really into research kasi feel ko pagod na rin sila after their undergrad degree, no, and going to medicine, research na naman. But that's okay. But I think everyone must know that story is actually a big thing outside of the Philippines, and I do really hope that this is something that we can push for in the years to come. No, having said that, we see a lot of members in IFMSA who are really, becoming more and more interested and enthusiastic in the standing committee. And that only means that research is gaining more significance in our training as medical students or as future physicians. And I think nowadays, nakikita niyo left and right, we have, the flourishing enthusiasm of fellow students, yung mga ate natin, yung mga kuya natin, or even the younger ones. They try to join research writing. They go along with known doctors or professors just to be able to publish their articles in peer-reviewed journals. So these are some things that we push in SCORY, and this is very significant. This what makes SCORY significant, because aside from being clinically adept as a medical student or as a a future physician, we want medical students to be also adept with their research writing, or be able to contribute to the existing knowledge of medicine.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that, Kuya. Like you mentioned, like here in the Philippines, it's just starting to gain some traction. Because if you compare it then to other medical students, like in our level, like first year medical students, tapos sa ibang countries, like talagang they've published now before they even entered med school. So of course, like what you said, USCORI is really pushing to help like Filipino medical students then to at least be able to contribute to our knowledge, diba? So parang thank you, Kuya, for saying that. Like that really sheds light on the
Yeah.
importance and significance of SCORI talaga.
Mhm.
So
So going back to your question, I think you also asked about what sets it apart
yes,
from other
yes.
NRI. Um, it's actually SCORE is one of the six standing committees of IFMSA. So when you say standing committees in IFMSA, we have advocacies here. So advocacy driven kami. But in SCORE, you're not only advocacy driven. So I don't know if this has been mentioned by Scopy, but usually both of us, since because we're the exchanges committee in IFMSA, we're not only advocacy driven because we have the exchange program part. Now for SCORE, um, we provide here the opportunity to experience research while in medical school, and we do this through facilitating exchanges. Because ayun nga, di ba sabi ko kanina na not all medical universities or medical colleges in the Philippines really prioritize research. It is through SCORI exchanges that we try to help fill in that gap in our training as medical students. We try to, give that opportunity na, oh guys, we have this. If you're interested, and it's actually plus points to your CV or, to your professional development. And then, so you get the benefits of two programs, of two things in one. You have research and exchange program. So you do lab work, you do your passion in science and medicine, and at the same time, if you're in an exchange program, you try to be with other people from different countries. So you try to enjoy the company of like-minded people from IFMSA, to be exact. So you are immersed in different cultures, in different work ethic and everything. So it's really in a complete package. You just do not do your passion, right? Do research, but also try to be with people na it's one of a memorable program. It's something that you can only explain yourself if you're able to experience it. So I think at this time I'd like to really push for research exchanges.
So, Kuya, I'm so sold. Like, literally, I'm so sold. So, let's say I want to apply, diba, Kuya? So, how can I prepare for an exchange? Like, this is the nitty gritty na. So, all of the
Yeah,
application process, the
yeah.
preparation.
Okay, this is a bit technical now, ha. So, ideally, di ba, pag gusto mo kasi mag-exchange, you think about your interest. At least I mean, if we're to be specific in this podcast, it's a research exchange. So, what are your interests in research? Now, in medicine, there are two types. Let's just make it, a dichotomy, ha. Kasi there are a lot of researchers out there, like really types. But in medicine, let's just classify it into two. We have the clinical ones and we have the non-clinical ones, or the basic sciences to be exact. So this is also the good thing about Story, because we cater to the needs of all types of medical students, right? So whether you're in your first year of study, even if you do not know internal medicine, you haven't really encountered patients, you can apply for SCORE exchanges, because there are non-clinical studies or researches provided by professors in different national member organizations. So you can choose. So it's up to you. You want clinical or do you want non-clinical studies? But that depends on your qualification, because of course, if you want to push for, or if you want to get clinical studies, dapat you're a clinical medical student already. You have fulfilled the necessary requirements, and it's different among national member organizations, to what qualifies you to be a clinical medical student. So, di ba sa atin, if you're already a clerk, you're already in your clinical years or even during your third year, di ba? But in your first year, you deal with basic sciences kasi like anatomy, physiology. You do not deal with patient. You do not deal with clinical trials. You deal with the basics of medicine. So those things you have to think about. Okay. Are you qualified to be in a clinical study or to participate in that? Do you have the enough knowledge to be able to conduct that research? Yeah. Next is we think about since this is an exchange program, we get out of the Philippines essentially. You think about visas. Okay, you think about visas. Is it visa-free country? Is it a non-visa-free country? Okay, so this goes to your financial aspects kasi going to a visa-free country, hindi mo na kailangang i-justify yourself and you're able to finance yourself because you are granted by that country free entry by, just by your nationality of being a Filipino. But that is another topic already. Being a Filipino and having visa-free entry privileges to different countries. But that goes to the financial aspect. Like, are you able to sponsor yourself or sponsor yourself or do out of pocket expenses, or are you able to find a sponsor so that it lessens the financial burden on you? Okay, that's and then going to our fourth. So I mentioned, is it clinical or non-clinical? Is it visa free or non-visa free? Financial aspect, can you do it out of pocket or sponsored by another company or another person, not you or your family? The next thing is that we have two types of duration, two types of, we love dichotomy here. It's always dichotomy. Do you want it 4 weeks? Do you want it 8 weeks? Because it depends on you. There are projects in IFMSA exchanges, particularly in researches, that there is a 4 week long exchange program. There's also 8 weeks. But most Filipinos or previous exchange students from AMSA Philippines, they they always go with the 4 weeks kasi nga medyo nahihirapan tayo to yung schedule natin with our medical schools. Parang it's just so difficult for us to just get out of the Philippines and even the 1 month, parang feeling mo, is it too long? Or I mean, hindi ba ako papagalitan ng aking university? That's actually a question in point, which is something I hope na our universities in the future will be supportive of, with our extracurricular activities, because then again, hindi lang naman pwede na makulong tayo dito sa ating medical education. We want more exposure. We want to show the brand of Filipino medical students. And yun yung important pag nag-exchange. Okay, and then important also is that, do you want it to be credited by your university? So kunyari, I don't know, I think most of our universities here are, they do not really recognize our research exchanges. Unlike for Scopy na, if you go out for a clinical elective or do a foreign elective, diba, it can be credited. So you do not need, when you come back to the Philippines, you do not need to take another elective. You just have to use, or if you went out for a clinical elective, that would be it already, diba? I hope you guys understand that. But in research exchange kasi, we have no, I think, in Philippine medical curriculum, parang education curriculum natin, parang hindi naman siya parang anatomy, physiology that are established subjects, di ba? Parang what is research? Saan dito sa ating curriculum or part ng degree requirement natin ilalagay yung research? So that becomes actually a problem. But if it's something that, if you just want to go on a research exchange without being credited after that program or when you come back to the Philippines, then just go. Diba? Parang push, just go. Right? And then, lastly, important to, outcomes in scoring exchanges. So, hindi lang kasi, syempre, you guys gonna go to exchange programs, happy, ganyan, ganyan. but you have to fulfill outcomes. That is part of the contract if you go on a research exchange with IFMSA. You need to have there are different outputs that you can choose from, so it's up to you. So I think it's just logical enough or just right to have an outcome at the end of your exchange program, because ano pa nga ba yung sense na you had an exchange program without having to make a good outcome out of it, diba? Okay ba yun?
That is true, Kuya. Like, given the opportunities din naman, there always has to be something we also have to give in return because we were given these opportunities. So what can we make the most out of it, right?
Yes,
Tama.
That's very
exactly.
true. Okay, thank you, Kuya. That was super expensive.
I
In
learned
terms
so
of
much,
the
like
yeah, as in
very clear.
so now, like in specific, like for specific individuals, I'm sure your listeners want to know, what do you look for in a delegate?
Okay, what do we look for in a delegate? Um, it's not just about you being interested in research. Let's look into the administrative aspect of exchanges in IFMSA. We have limited number of slots, right? So, kumbaga, it's really a competition. It's really a competition to begin with. So, first, we reprioritize. And when I say we prioritize, we look back what universities in IFMSA or no, in AMSA Philippines, sorry, what universities or LMOs in AMSA Philippines are active host universities. Okay, so we look into that because we prioritize students from the active host university. So AMSA-UST, you are the priority. Okay, and I'm talking about technicalities here. I'm talking about technicalities because for now, UST is the only hosting university at AMSA Philippines for IFMSA scoring exchanges. So we prioritize. Okay, and then other members of AMSA Philippines will then be, will be second to the prioritization. So it depends on your usually qualifications. We look into your your CV. Usually one. What we look into is that um okay, to set the point, okay, everyone applying for Scholarly Research Exchange or a research exchange is that everyone is baseline interested in research exchange. You guys are into it. Kasi what's the point of, applying if you're not into it, di ba?
True,
Parang,
Kuya, true.
kasi not, again, going back, not all medical students are really into research. So if I know someone or if our members in AMSA Philippines apply for research exchange, then automatic, you guys are interested in research. You want to produce something, diba? You want to publish something. You want to work with giants in science and medicine outside of the country, diba? But then again, we have contracts. We have limited number of slots. And then in IFMSA and in AMSA Philippines, we prioritize and then we give prioritization to those students from the hosting LMO, which is AMSA-UST. Without that factor, we look into the CV of the applicant. Okay, we look into the CV. So here, the Lori, so si Pami, kung kunyari, someone from AMSA-UST mag-apply, we have a, certain requirements set there. We have CV, we have proof of enrollment. We get all the motivation letter. We give them forms to fill in, everything, and then Pami will have to interview these applicants, okay, from AMSA.
Dun 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 dun.
Have to
Joke
interview
lang.
them. Parang we have a standard set of questions or set by IFMSA or even me as a Nori. We have set of questions and then we try to screen and have the applicant be vetted by the system itself in place. Ano siya? So siguro ang tip na lang na maibibigay ko to applicants who are, really interested is that um, the more you give to AMSA, the more na we also give to you. So,
True.
in short, be more active kasi that goes to show na you're not only interested in research, but also you are interested in representing the national member organization, which is AMSA Philippines. Kasi nga, when we send delegates for exchanges, um, first and foremost, parang kailangan na knowledgeable ka about AMSA Philippines. Kasi nga, if, you know, napansin ko kasi if in IFMSA they will talk about their NMO ganyan ganyan. So they're really knowledgeable about it. They're really active members. So what we also want with our delegates is that they have enough knowledge of the NMO so that pag nag-uusap-usap na sila, they have something to brag about. Diba? But yes, important din na interesado kayo sa ginagawa nyo kasi first and foremost, there are outcomes that are expected of you after your exchange program. Yun lang naman. That's the important tip that I told you, ha? Yun.
Nice tip, kuya.
I think even with Scopy. I think with Scopy, ganun din.
Yeah, I believe so po. Pati AMSEP, I think they're required to attend POD-GA for those who want to apply. Anyway, kuya, so yan yung qualifications for a delegate. Qualifications sa jowa. Joke lang.
Curveball yun.
Parang ibang topic, ibang podcast ata to, Pami. Mag-set tayo ng ibang schedule. willing ako mag-contribute. Ulit. Okay.
I love the energy. Okay, wala lang. Para mabuhayan, makilig naman dun listeners natin. Anyway, kuya, so what do you think po? For example, I am someone who is not familiar at all with this. So how would you sell this research exchange to me? What are the benefits po of being part of an exchange program?
I always have this line when I talk about IFMSA. You start with IFMSA. You don't talk about score. Okay, scoring. You have to talk about the mother before you talk about the child, right? So SCORY is the standing committee of IFMSA. So what is IFMSA? You have to sell IFMSA first. Parang, there is this very nice way to say IFMSA being one of the student arms of the World Health Organization. And this is being recognized by many medical associations, international ones, Europe, Americas. So that at that point palang parang this is not nice, di ba? Parang di ba? Parang yun pa lang marketing skills. IFMSA, one of the student arm of WHO, and then recognized by many international medical associations in Europe, in Asia, in Americas. Now we go to SCORY. Okay, you go to SCORY. Now how you do this is that when you sell, there is this what we call advocacy in exchanges. You try to really advocate for SCORY, to be specific. We have these letters again from international medical associations na they are acknowledging and recognizing that SCORY is like this, like that. Though I cannot name everything. If you want a copy, I think I have to send it to Pami. But I think you send it to me also. But that is the point. If you want, parang if I'm gonna sell it to you, I'm gonna say it that way. Okay? Kasi diba, you are interested in research to begin with. But then again, you do not want your output in the end to be in just nothing at all. Parang saan yung pinaghirapan ko, diba? So we have to stand with the giants to be able to gain recognition also that we work this and that this is being recognized by other by renowned reputable medical associations, Right? Yun yun.
Thank you so much, Kuya. That is true. Um, so I would like to ask po, like personally, do you have any ano po, experiences with going to this type of exchange po ba? Because I'm pretty, if I think we had like one of these capacity building sessions, no, and then they're
Mm.
really investing with AMSA Philippines. Yeah, AMSA Philippines na. Kasi I think like this is one of the youngest projects, if I'm not mistaken po, no?
Yes.
So
Um, yeah.
what do you think we can look forward to in such exchanges? And if you have any experiences then po with participating in AMSA or IFMSA in general, what would you like to share with us po?
Okay, I have to agree. That Scory Exchange is actually one of the youngest in IFMSA. Every standing committee, I think they have to date back in the 1950s. They're old, mga gurang. We are 1991. Scory was born in that year. Kasi it came out after the World War II and the other standing committees. IFMSA was established in the 1950s and then eventually nagkaroon siya ng mga anak way back then. And then merong youngest, the Biscory. There are a lot of projects in Scory, but there are times, most of the time, it's more of bilateral contracts kasi talaga siya. Though we have Scopy, we have Scory and Scoff together na project or gap exchanges, we call that. It's a different exchange program. It's a collaborative exchange program between the two standing committees. But unfortunately, AMSA Philippines is not yet an active NMO in that kind of exchange because we're still young in our, you know, in Scory to begin with. Like we're trying to rebuild it again after the pandemic. So, but I do hope that in the near future we look forward to this kind of exchange program. Kasi nga, again, public health is medicine. Public health. Ang dami ng researches on public health. It's very significant in our times already. So, I think I do hope that we push for this kind of exchanges in Scory. And then, with regards to my experiences with research exchange, unfortunately, I was heading for Brazil or Indonesia when I was in first year, but then nagka-pandemic, so we had to cancel my application. That would have been actually my first IFMSA Scory exchange. So alam niyo na, like I was really into research exchange even in my first year until now. Now I'm the national officer. But the
Loyal
thing
talaga
is,
si Kuya eh.
ayun. But the thing is, um, personally, I do have other exchange programs that I was able to attend, but it's not IFMSA, but it is related with research siya. Being able to present your work abroad, I've already done that, and it's very fulfilling. Kasi it's your work, and you're trying to present it to people, and I think it goes the same with score exchanges. And then in score exchanges, kasi you have to work with other people. So yung fulfillment that you get from being able to present it to to like-minded people from different countries, and then yung work, yung mismong research nyo is actually a collaborative one, and you work with people from anywhere else in Europe, in Americas, in Asia Pacific, anywhere, all the regions of IFMSA, whoever man na nakasama nyo sa research exchange. So, I must say na um, it's one for the books. Yun.
I'm sure it's definitely memorable, Kuya, no? Because it's like a culmination of the collaboration across all of the students from different parts of the world, and this research that it's going to benefit future patients, and they have that appreciation as well, like that. It's true. I think what you're saying, it's really one for the books, the feeling of fulfillment, no kuya.
And then you get to travel with them also.
Yeah, so it's like you build
Yeah,
a network at the same time, which is also
actually,
really good.
that's
Yes.
the good thing with IFMSA. Though I've attended IFMSA events naman na, if you go, into physical conferences or general assemblies, grabe yung network na makukuha mo after. Not only like, friendship, network, and then sometimes if they know you, kunyari, someone from India, and then just randomly message you na, do you want to join our research? Kasi alam nila na you're into it. Yes,
Oh, that's
exactly.
nice. Yeah.
Na, personally, na binag-chat sa akin na ganon. So, those are the perks, let's just say. And one of the things that you get when, you go into IFMSA, score exchanges, or if people from IFMSA know you, that you're interested or you have this passion for research or any advocacy in IFMSA, they will just randomly, you know. And then if they have opportunities, tapos alam nila na you're into it, and then you really had a good connection with that person, mabilis. They will just give it to you. Are you interested? Or do you want to join? Like that.
Yeah, so you get to do more of what you love
Yeah.
because people
Yes,
know that you've already
exactly.
had that outcome. That's so cool. So
Yes.
yun, Kuya, you mentioned earlier about bilateral exchanges. So we want to elaborate more a little
Okay,
bit.
so during general assemblies, kasi we sign contracts, right? So we sign contract with another country. So it's bilateral sa dalawang country. But that's not always the case because we can actually have a unilateral contract with another country. What I say with bilateral contract is that if kunyari, sa Philippines member will go out of the Philippines to, say, for example, Brazil for an exchange, then in return, Brazil will have to send also their exchange student or member to the Philippines. Ganun ang bilateral contract. So, ang mangyayari is that, say, kunyari, ikaw, you want to go to Brazil, and then you have your host university there, you've chosen, and then um, a Brazilian medical student wants to go to the Philippines, ang mangyayari, he also has to choose among the hosting universities that we have in the Philippines. And as of now, UST is hosting. Yun. So UST will be the one accommodating the student. So that is another work of PAMI as the lorry.
Go,
Ganon.
Jose!
Ganon siya. Okay? So that depends on your logistics also, how available your tutor is, and at the same time, if kung willing ba overall. Kasi even if you're actively hosting, at least as it reflects in our database, meron kasi tayong exchange database. So, nakalimutan kong sabihin na when you're applying for exchanges, and then you want to check for what country, no? What country, we only have specific countries. So if Philippines signed, a contract with, say, for example, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Italy, France, and you only have these five countries, you only get to choose among these five countries. And then siya. Yeah. And then, ayun, go through the exchange database or their exchange conditions. We call that exchange conditions. So France would have these exchange conditions, and you have to fulfill everything that is reflected there, and then send it to PAMI all the requirements, and then PAMI will send it to me for and then I will be doing the process in. So ganun siya, medyo may ladder you send it to your lorry, the lorry will be sending it to me, and then I will be sending it to the database, and then it will be under the supervision of the SCORE International team and even the regional assistant of Asia Pacific. So ganun siya.
So it's a multi-step process
It's a
talaga.
multi-step process, but the exchange conditions and the database are very clear. It's very complete. So, kung hindi mo yan complete, medyo strict kasing IFMSA eh. So they won't acknowledge or don't even you really have to complete all the or fulfill all the requirements in order for you to go ahead with the exchange. But that's a glimpse to how you apply for exchanges in Scory. I think also with Scopy, ganun din.
Yes, kuya. Actually, we can link down in our description below sa podcast na to for the database. It's actually accessible naman to everyone. So link
Yeah.
it down. Thank you for that, kuya. And actually, that's true. It's on the my spot as a lorry. I'll be honest, it's quite difficult to get tutors to say yes to the project
Yes.
because universities these days, well, post pandemic pa, no, transitioning pa to hybrid ba to, face-to-face ba to, or online. So it's quite difficult to reinstate or to reestablish again an exchange program these days. But the good news is it's working naman. There's progress and there's action taking forward naman. So I
Yeah.
would like to ask Kuya, for a student who is so excited for this research exchange, what can I do to prepare myself for this? Do I have to invest now in research? Do I have to be good in research before applying to it?
Okay. For me, personally, um, you don't have to be good because no one start extremely excellent in every field. It's not really a qualification for me or a requirement to be really good at it. You just need to have the heart for it. Yeah. Because you start from there. Like, you have to do character assessment. Like, I think the more important ones, at least personally, I'll just go through, am I trainable in research? Importante yun eh. Trainable ba ako? Diba? I mean, you might be good. You can write. But then again, research is collaborative. So, kaya ko bang matrain? Or am I trainable? Diba? Diba? Kasi, um, probably in your assessment, I'm good. But then if you are with other people, you will notice that you still have things to improve on. And with that, can you accept constructive criticisms? Then, okay, so am I trainable? Can you accept constructive criticisms? And since it's an exchange program, okay, do you think do you think you can deal with other cultures? Kasi pansin ko, in a multicultural team, napansin ko yan, magkaiba talaga yung work ethic ng iba't ibang tao. You really have to adjust. Right? Though, again, marami namang nasusolve ng good communication. Yun yung tatlo. Trainable ka ba? Okay. Sige, lahat naman kasi tayo, if you go for a research exchange or baseline, interested in research. Okay? You just have to ask yourself, are you trainable in research? Okay. Can you accept constructive criticisms? And then can you deal with other cultures? Okay. And then if you try to reflect on these three questions, these do not only apply to joining research exchanges. It's actually in our everyday lives as medical students, right? If you go for residency training, they always look into this factor na, are you trainable? You might be good, but then again, there is this big barrier na parang you don't want others to, let's just quote unquote, meddle with your learning. But then when you're in training or even in medical school, you need to be trained and have to accept constructive criticisms. And then you deal with other people. We're Filipinos together, but then again, may kanya-kanya tayong values, set of work ethic, and how do you deal with these? Paano kung butaw yung isa? Paano kung tamad yung isa? Paano kung over naman yung isa, di ba? So, yeah. You don't have to be good at it. You just need to have the heart for it and do character assessment.
Wow, I love that last line, Kuya. You don't have to be good at it, just have the heart for it. And that's so true. In everything we do, doesn't matter if you're good at it. It's just you gotta get along with people talaga. That's how the world works. I
Yes.
love that. Thank you, Kuya Marky. That was awesome.
Yep. Eh,
Absolutely agree with what Kuya said. Of course, you can't let ego get in the way, especially as aspiring physicians, diba? Like it's all about how we're going to learn for our future patients. It's never about what we front or our arrogance kasi nanggaling tayo sa ganitong med school. Like it's not about that. It's about how we collaborate with our peers and how to move the healthcare sector forward. So with that, thank you so much, Kuya, for the fruitful discussion. As in, we learned so much, and I'm sure all our listeners learned so much as well, all about the ins and outs of the application process for the research exchange. But not only that, of course, yung the profound learnings all about how we are as medical students and what we can benefit from research, as well as our collaboration with other countries and how we can be better physicians in the future. And with that, for our audience, please feel free to click on the link below to let us know about your thoughts in this episode. And as Pami mentioned earlier, if you want to look through the database, if you're interested in applying for a research exchange. And once again, this is XPod 2023 to exchanges and beyond.